videos that circulated, most recently in Las Vegas.
Yes, I saw
where
that.
some people claimed that there were these aliens in their backyard. I watched the video and I could not see these aliens that they were referring to. You're familiar with the situation, right?
Oh, I'm very familiar with it. And I've not been able to get anyone on my team who's out in that area to get anything that is what I would call actionable intelligence, hard information. So look, this subject, it's 9 parts myth and whatever, an embellishment, 1 part fact. It's very difficult. I mean, I've been dealing with this for 33 years, and I'm not saying something like that didn't happen. There's some camera footage of some object that looked like it was blew up or was hit. I have seen one thing that looked like a photo of an unusual looking creature in that backyard. I have seen that. It was sent to me. But we haven't been able to get to the actual officers who were there, or the people who claimed that this creature appeared in their backyard after this object was struck. Is it plausible that could have happened? Yes, because they're near an area, MOA, a military operating area, that do have systems that can target and hit an ET craft. And I know where these are around various parts of the United States. By the way, in the early mid-90s, I learned that there was one of these, it was horseshoe-shaped electromagnetic pulse weapons along the coast of Florida, along Eglin Air Force Base. Whether that's still there or not, I don't know. But so it's feasible that event happened. But again, I haven't been able to get anyone to get on the inside and confirm it.
Well, I mean, there's been other videos. For example, in 2019, there was the quote unquote Dobby Alien video. You know what I'm talking about? It was a character that looked like something out of Harry Potter. Essentially, that was kind of like wobbling around in someone's backyard on their camera. Do you know what I'm talking about with this one?
I know the one they call Boo that Stan Romanek had.
Hold on. Let me show you what I'm talking
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. Look, there have been several. I always go, well, it's... what it all comes down to is the provenance. What's the provenance of this?
Well, let me just show you this video that I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I have seen that. The question is, you'd have to.
Here it is again.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, and
like
always the question.
Weird looking. I don't know. It looks like an elf or a little troll almost, and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's like I said, this was 4 years ago.
Well, again,
I mean,
I haven't gotten access to that original footage or talked to the person who took it. It's theoretically possible that was one that appeared and disappeared. But the question is, was that an extraterrestrial one or a man-made one? So it gets a little weirder when you start entertaining the idea that we have man-made aliens that would look just like that.
Wait. So you're saying there's man-made aliens that they've actually bioengineered non-human, non-Earth animal creatures that are actually running around?
Well, that they're using special operations to abduct people and do things like that. Yeah.
Why would you abduct somebody using a man-made alien as opposed to just sending in a military person to do it?
Because they want people to believe that they have been abused by an alien so that they can justify interplanetary war. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
This whole thing is a psychological warfare operation going back since 1953, 70 years, when they concluded they could use the whole UFO issue for its psychological warfare value. And I'm quoting from the CIA document we have, and that I provided in briefings to people at the White House and Congress. So I think that you have to understand, what does that mean? It means exactly what I just told you. So let's talk about this. There are three different phenomena masquerading as alien. One is actual extraterrestrial. The other are what we call stagecraft. Like in the early days, we have an Air Force intelligence officer who's a witness on camera. And this is actually in our documentary called Unacknowledged. It's had over 700 million people see it. You can see it on Amazon or Tubi or whatever. And he states that they had staged these abductions. And in the early days, would take a very short man and then make them up like Hollywood style to look like an alien. And they'd be put on these man-made UFOs, and they would go and abduct people. Now, to what purpose? It's what we just talked about, for the psychological warfare, so they could convince and brainwash people that there was a threat. It's just like Cheney marching Colin Powell up to the UN with yellow cake or evidence that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction when he didn't. It's all part, it's a deception. And so this is where a lot of people get irritated, because I'm really the biggest skeptic you'll ever run across. About 80 to 90% of everything out there that people put forward is alien. I'm going, yeah, well, the mutilations, human. All those animal mutilations being done by human psychological warfare operations. The abductions, same thing. A lot of these creatures, many of them are robotic. If you look at the ones that people like Stan Romanek, and I have a top secret guy, whistleblower, who's just come forward, who he encountered one of these and it tried to attack him. He knocked it down. It thought it was skin. And when it tore open, there were all these integrated circuits and fiber optics and wires under there. But it looked exactly like that thing you just showed. So, and that was absolutely man-made. And then there's one other level, and those are what are called PLFs, program life forms. And these are biological. So let's say you have an ET that you've captured that's dead. You take the genetic material, and everyone knows we've cloned things like sheep and what have you. You clone it, but then you put integrated circuits in the cerebral cortex, and that biological alien is sort of a program life form that can then be used in a deceptive operation. Now, a few minutes ago, I told you the more in depth we get into this, the crazier it's going to sound, but it's true. And now, but let's put a pin in that. What do you think has happened when Grush and others say, we've had these craft, we've reverse engineered them? Imagine having, over the years, trillions of dollars and some of the smartest scientific minds I have ever met working in these deep black projects. There have been amazing paydays, not just on energy and propulsion and communications and weapons, but on biology, in my sphere, medical. And so it's a mistake to think that has not been exploited and bent to the purpose of these deceptive indications and warnings, as they're called, or deceptive false flag operations. So that is exactly what was decided in the 1950s, and they have done it very, very professionally. Occasionally, some facts leak out, like that CIA document talking about the CIA staging abductions for their psychological warfare value in Brazil and Argentina, and it said alien abductions. Same thing with what the Air Force intelligence officer, Mr. Doty, said about in the United States, where they had done these abductions using various stagecrafting. Now, we've known of this. This has been documented by researchers since at least the 1980s, before I got involved. And we have further documented it, but this sounds so outrageous and unbelievable. Unfortunately, both the general public and the Congress go, boy, this is a bridge too far. We can't wrap our mind around that. They're still trying to figure out what that thing is that Mr. Fravor chased, the Tic Tac, and they don't even figure that out yet, because that was ours. That was almost certainly from the Lockheed Skunk Works.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you talk about alien abductions, the one term you always hear is anal probes, right? Down to, I remember the first episode of South Park, Cartman gets, abducted by aliens,
yep.
And they do an anal probe to the point where like a satellite comes out of his butt, by the end of the episode. And what is it about aliens and anal probes that seem to go hand in hand?
Oh yeah. Well, it's also ridiculous. And you always have to ask the question, you're going to go through interstellar space, and you need to take, your sperm and her egg and create some. I mean, this is just all nonsense. But the public is actually very gullible to believe this, because it's been in movie, science fiction, ufology for decades. And also, there's another problem. Humans are very easily brainwashed about something that looks different from them that they should hate. This is the root of, you look at chimpanzees, we're 98% the same. They've done studies how chimpanzees organize into troops and engage in warfare. So what humans have, this sort of our genetic original sin, is this proclivity that we want to kill or fight anything that is different from us, whether it be a gay person, whether it be a different color, a different race, a different nationality, a different religion. Look at the Middle East. And so that is being exploited by people who understand deeply the foibles of human psychology. And that's why psychological warfare programs like this are so effective. Now, they're only effective if people are tricked by them. We were tricked after 9/11 with Iraq having weapons of mass destruction. They didn't. We were tricked in Vietnam. The only question I'm asking people, are we going to be tricked again? I always like to say, it's like the Who, we won't be fooled again. Well, that was in the 70s, right? Or 60s. I hate to tell the Who, we have been tricked again and again and again. The question is, are we going to be fooled again? And right now, unfortunately, with the buffoonery going on here in Washington and with the UFO subject, I'm a little concerned we may be tricked again.